So everyone starts looking for Soong's GPS the day of from the previous episode. I mean, didn't he just miss him through the doorway? But now that he doesn't have a transporter, oh, he's back in the States. Amazing.
This entire bullshit scenario was designed to draw us here and away from Soong.
Oh, if only you had a transporter that could move you in a few seconds to where you need to be in the story. Alas. Also, where did Dr. Lady and her son go? I guess they went home?
Talon, you can just walk into quarantine?
They break quarantine on launch day.
Wait a second. If NASA breaks quarantine on launch day, why the rush to attend the gala? Are you undermining the logic of your own episodes?
Transport in.
Don't worry, I've been planning this for a long time.
Since we know she can monitor places remotely and she's just a watcher, she's now lying about how watchers don't get involved. Why? And how does she know to get involved now, and in what way exactly? Picard figures out Talon is going to kill herself for Renee and jumps into the transport miss thing. So Raffi, Rios, and Seven find a pre-recorded sound file playing on Soong's computer in his house, which is dumb, and then discover his backup plan to use 4 drones to attack the launch. So why put this drone thing in his house when he lured people there? Why not rent a top of a building far away or a pickup truck and just launch it elsewhere? Wouldn't distance make sense for a backup plan?
Soong knew we would find this, right? Why bother creating a recording? He calculated that we would try to destroy them.
Because the story is retarded. Why would you lead your opponents on a wild goose chase so they could find your backup plan, which, if they tried to stop it, might blow up in their faces?
He hardwired them to explode. We even tap it wrong, we all go boom.
That's dumb. Backup plans should be secure. If it does blow up in their face, your backup plan fails. Talon just steals someone's jumpsuit and clearance card and walks through security. She can just do that.
Did my donations not buy me 5 minutes of FaceTime?
Soong argues that his donations should allow him to shake the astronauts' hands. And I'm wondering, what did his money do? They would have launched without it. And this director's like, well, I guess we can break quarantine rules for our biggest donor. Okay, yeah, viruses, what are those these days, huh?
Be real.
You really are disrespectful. I'd like to leave you right here. I will leave you right here.
That's an odd way to get someone to stop following you. How about, thanks, I'm good here, see you later. Talon reveals herself to Renee as a guardian angel. Okay, so she lied about not getting involved directly, and she gave her a little sailboat gift as well as when she was 10. Why? So if some person you can sort of recall came up to you at this pivotal moment of your life and said they were a crazy stalker since you were born, would you just automatically trust them with your life?
It's just something. God, it's a crazy woman. She says she's my guardian from space.
It's all right, it's all right.
How and why does Renee know Soong and is glad he's here? What about quarantine rules?
This neurotoxin is fast and fatal.
So Soong is touching the lethal skin membrane he removed. I guess all of it got absorbed into Renee's cheek. Maybe he's immune to it, who knows? So the drones launch. Raffi hacks one, giving Rios manual controls, so Rios smashes one into the other. That's okay. Then it smashes into another one, and the drone is still fine. And that collision caused another fluke collision with the third drone. Was Rios' drone just way sturdier? Shouldn't the explosions have been huge? And were there bombs on the drones? How would they stop the launch exactly? They mentioned the setup would explode, but not the drones themselves because Raffi opens the panel and said so. She didn't open the drone and see explosives in them. And I'm sure a series of drones could interfere with a rocket, but how exactly?
You must have something that would help. MedTech.
Nope, she wants to die, just because. Also, it's not a very fast-acting neurotoxin now, is it? Soong is somehow back at his smashed lab at his house and confused why the launch was successful.
On the wings of those who came before us.
So Renee is, I think, holding the sailboat pendant that Talon gave her in the cockpit. I'm quite sure that wouldn't be allowed in a launch, but whatever. We then see Not Soji wearing the headgear from her house, and she's doing all these hand motions like she's working in virtual reality in a public library. I hope this tech is normal in 2024, because this would raise some eyebrows. Maybe she went back and stole it after she left. I don't know. And somehow she remotely hacked into her dad's computer and started deleting everything.
This is for my sisters.
Okay, but if Soong tries the experiment again, he'll start without the data, like from scratch, causing even more deaths. You understand that, right?
System-wide purge complete.
Does anyone in the Star Trek universe use McAfee? Computers have automatic backups these days. We've had data backups since the 70s. An obsessive, crazy scientist who was contingency plans for bombs in his house for people raiding it would have backups for his life's work. Just maybe. It's a standard package on any price point of hardware you rent or buy, remote or on site. Are you trying to tell me Not Soji deleted the backups as well? Because that would be really funny if he just calls up his hosting package and says, yeah, can I get the backups from last night? Yeah, thanks. But this causes him to pull out a dossier that says Project Con. Do you remember Con? So, Not Soji gets her laptop hacked to go meet at some place because the laptop said so. And it's Wesley Crusher and his trademark shit-eating grin. He tells her he's a traveler and just comes across as the giant goofball he is, that any normal person seeing a man grin this much, saying crazy stuff, wouldn't want anything to do with. His organization of the travelers created the supervisors so time doesn't get screwed up, which means he or his group were in charge of Talon and let her die, even though they could have easily saved her with future technology. And if the travelers are here, where is the Department of Temporal Investigations? Do they even care? No?
Wait, is this a recruitment speech?
Hey, want to join a death cult where you watch a person for 30 years straight till you commit suicide for them?
But I cannot guarantee your safety.
Case in point, Talon. So, Not Soji joins Wesley, but we don't know why, nor do we know why Wesley wants her, and they transport. Which is weird since I thought he'd use his traveler powers, but okay, he's in a ship somewhere. There's no reason to do this, but fine. So, does that mean Adam Soong has more kids to continue the Soong line, or is Not Soji going to procreate? What's going on? So the team is now controlling Talon's transporter, and they're back at the Picard estate, and some reason brought the doctor lady and her son here too. They're also collecting future equipment, and I guess they missed Talon's gun that was left at the estate as well. Like 4 or 5 dropped phasers. There's Picard's communicator back at the bar. And, you know, who cares anymore? Who cares trying to keep track of all this crap? Because the writers clearly don't. So everyone's convinced the timeline's fine. And then we have this line. And this line, I was laughing for a good 10 seconds, and I still don't know what's being said.
Now that's the only way that never seeing the people we're never going to see again is okay.
Right.
So Raffi thinks the timeline is fine because that's the only way they'll never see the people they're never going to see again. So the team is happy they're in the past or stuck or whatever.
But I gotta say, super still and spend every waking moment with Raffi because, I'm actually feeling like I want to, focus on me for a change.
Raffi, you are a lying narcissist. So of course, Seven kisses her in this completely believable relationship.
You chose the Jean-Luc you are. You absolved yourself.
Q, we've been down this road before. In Tapestry, where Q saved Picard's life and gave him a second chance, Picard chose to die than to live a lie of a road not taken. In this scenario, Picard blew up a ship because a Borg queen was taking it and a fleet over, instead of Jurati simply saying, "Hey, Picard, it's me, Jurati, your friend." She says, "Look up," while taking a fleet, and starts playing the damn Edith Piaf song like that makes any goddamn sense. So Picard blows up the ship. So Q made a time loop thing because of some stupid lonely girl trying to be clever. That's Star Trek Picard Season 2.
I am dying alone.
1. What about the rest of the continuum? 2. What about your son? 3. What about your partner? Are you trying to tell me Q doesn't have friends or relationships? Didn't Q chum around with Vosh before? Why? No. How would a god suck at inferior human or god-like relationships? You're not telling me he has like an innumerable amount? None? Zero? And on the other end of that, would an omnipotent being even care about having a social life of a certain type with a certain species or organism? By what standard do you gauge that? And how are you even dying? Wasn't death impossible to the point that we had a Voyager episode about a Q who wanted to become mortal just so he could die? Don't you think the Q, as a whole, would be a little bit concerned about this whole event? And simply, I don't know, prevent it from happening? Or at least be involved?
I do not want that for you.
So because Q is mysteriously dying and the Q Continuum, his partner or his son, don't care about him anymore, he wants an elderly Picard to find love or companionship or a family or I don't know, something. That's what this is all about, that Picard never forgave himself for his mom's death. Therefore, he needs to learn to love others. Okay. Didn't Picard in, again, Tapestry, find love with his friend, but then realized that the other scenarios undermine his entire life? A man bereft of passion and imagination?
That man is bereft of passion and imagination.
Why couldn't you just tell him to go hit on Crusher some more? A woman he actually loved, or Vosh, or Luxana, or someone new within his normal social circle. You had to play all these time games just so Picard could get laid? Really? Is Q some mentally retarded wingman god? And didn't Picard already have a family in the Inner Light? Didn't he learn to play the flute? Didn't he have kids, grow old, get married? Clearly, he seems to have resolved his problems, if there were any to begin with. So there we go. The Inner Light. No one on the writing team watched that. Here's another tagline. Star Trek Picard, Season 2, where Q lets Picard get laid.
But why does all this matter?
Must it always have galactic import?
If it's not about things like time traveling and preserving the timeline, why did you create a time-traveling scenario, you idiot?
Isn't one life enough?
Not to a Q. Remember, in all good things, you doomed humanity unless Picard figured out how to expand his consciousness for one brief moment. And in this case, you doomed the future of the galaxy and the Federation if Picard didn't fix things. Additionally, you also said the trial or trap itself was meaningless. It was the escape that mattered.
But he's trapped here.
The trap is immaterial. It's the escape that counts.
Which implies the lesson was irrelevant. But now, it's relevant. It's all about finding love again and forgiving himself for his mom's suicide, which Picard should be smart enough to know. If it wasn't his fault after all. After 70 years. He knows his mom was nuts. Even though mental disease was eradicated back in the TOS episode, Whom Gods Destroy.
A medicine with which the Federation hopes to eliminate mental illness for all time.
Total of 15 incurably insane out of billions is not what I would call an excessive figure.
So Q is somehow going to send everyone home, despite having no powers. Rios unsurprisingly wants to stay because he never fit in. A captain of his own ship, then later getting a commission as a captain of a Starfleet ship who saved the galaxy from a techno-tentacle monster, just never fit in. Okay, because he really likes old peanut butter, cigars, and a doctor lady from Ecuador a little bit more. I don't know.
Time's a funny thing.
Yes, it is. Interesting.
Q just says this line like it's supposed to make sense. Q then says, this was unexpected.
Most unexpected. Perhaps now there'll be some surplus energy. Call it a surprise. A gift.
Whatever. Picard says you won't go alone and hugs Q. Jean-Luc Picard hugs Q. Picard doesn't really hug anyone, and Q could have taught Picard to feel better over his mother's death in any number of ways, but instead, He put him and the galaxy and everything he knew at risk, including smacking him in the face. And Picard hugs him. Sure. So Q just snaps his fingers and it works because the plot said so, and they're back on the Stargazer, and the Edith Piaf song is playing over the loudspeaker, and everyone's shooting the Borg all over again. So Picard figures out, obviously, that the Borg Queen is Jurati, and holy hell is that one hilarious-looking face.
What's wrong with your face?
Alison Pill is a cute lady, but wow, what did they do to her?
What the hell's going on here?
How and why did Raffi get on the Stargazer when all the ship's systems throughout the fleet are down?
Enough to destroy most of this sector.
That's a galactic event.
So the Borg Queen did all of this because there's some phenomenon that's happening that will kill everyone in the quadrant. I don't think these writers understand how big space is. So the story just invents a brand new conflict that we have no clue of for 10 episodes. Just none. It just comes out of nowhere.
The only way to protect the quadrant is to harmonize the fleet shields with our own. That is why we needed access to the fleet.
So for 400 years, Build Borg Better could not assemble their own fleet. They made one really big ship, but that wasn't enough. So instead of, I don't know, warning people or having a plan to fix things, you just forcibly take over another fleet and expect people to let you. When did you find out this was a galactic thing, like this phenomenon? What about the kinder, gentler Savior Borg? Where's that fleet? Were you lazy for like 400 years, asking nicely to join the collective? Did everyone turn you down or something? Although considering what they did to Allison's face, I can understand why no one wants to join.
What is wrong with your face?
By my authority, consider this a field commission.
So Picard puts Seven in command because she's the Borg authority, and I think this is just some girl power bullshit just to put Seven in the captain's chair. I mean, what else could this scene actually mean? There's no reason for this.
The Admiral has authorized full control by the Borg Queen. Tell them do not resist. Agnes, be brilliant.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Miss Borg Specialist. So they all warp to one location, make a giant harmonized shield, except the Excelsior is screwing it up. Suddenly, Cadet Elnor is on the bridge of the Excelsior, contacting the Stargazer and doing the shield thing he was being taught by Raffi to do, I think. I mean, that's a bit surprising. It's a plot-related thing. It's rather impressive in this steaming pile. But why would Elnor not be alive in this scenario? The logic is because Rios didn't come back, there was enough energy to reset Elnor's time-traveling fiasco, I guess. If the writers aren't using time travel, they're using Deus Ex Machinas to cause things to happen. I don't know. Anyway, this big hole in space ejects a giant blast of stuff, which can be seen from far away, like other planets. And the writers and directors don't understand how light travels. But hey, Star Trek Picard is not hard or soft science fiction. It's, in fact, not even Star Trek.
You just saved billions of lives.
How? Who is at risk? How would not being in the way of a energy phenomenon have killed anyone? We're in space. Do you know how big space is? What are the stakes here? So now Jurati wants to be the watcher at the wall?
The guardian at the gates.
We are the watchers on the wall.
So sans Borg Queen, everyone goes to the 10 forward bar. Guinan's back and she's like, oh yeah, you know, Rios' old photo has been on the wall for like 400 years, you moron. And Dr. Lady's son healed the ocean and sky with the organism that Auntie Renee found on the Europa mission. Not anyone else, just him. Which means Rios got in touch with Renee and told them a crazy story. That's great.
Over medical supplies. And best of all, his last breath was into a cigar. So he died like he lived.
He died smoking a cigar and protecting medical supplies. What a great life. So Picard meets Laris before she leaves, and I'm thinking, didn't Talon die? Did she have kids? Did she come from a big family? How does this work? It's the same question with Dr. Soong and his lineage. Oh boy. Anyway, he says something sweet to her, and they're in the middle of this paired conservatory thing, and then the camera pans toward the window while looking at them, and the room becomes way longer than it was before. The camera zooms out, we get a flicker of light at some space thing in the sky, and we're finally done this insane, crappy story.